I'm sure you're getting the same calls I'm getting. Look, there are millions of other Americans who do not or are not on Medicare, including 200,000 young people with type 1 diabetes and need this insulin to stay alive. Let's finish the job this time. Let's cap the cost of insulin for everybody at $35. Folks,
he went to bills, and this time he is lucky to be able to do a little something nice for himself. Another DMV resident telling us on Twitter she's, quote, not doing anything particularly interesting with her check. Those eligible getting $1,400 payments or more for married couples and those with children. If you have the ability to put the payment toward other things, financial experts say setting aside some money to reward yourself can be...
And they will definitely bring down inflation. They will cause some pain to households and businesses and bring some pain to them because that's just how it is. The Fed has hiked interest rates 4 times, and this year already in an effort to stanch price increases. When the Fed raises interest rates, money becomes more expensive to borrow, harder to get, and more worthwhile to save. According to The Hill, the Fed wants demand for goods and services to fall closer to supply, which has dwindled as a result of obstacles created by the crisis. In an ideal world, the Fed can raise the interest rates gradually enough to bring down inflation without slowing the economy. But economists generally agree that inflation has risen too high for the Fed to bring it down, without causing at least some hardship. And the Fed's rapid rate hikes will bring an end to the 2 years of rapid wage growth, record job openings, and remarkably low layoffs. The U.S. still added 315,000 jobs last month, and wages rose 5.2% over the past year. But economists do suspect that some job growth is going to be slow and the unemployment rate to rise as businesses feel the squeeze of higher interest rates. That means many more workers who have not yet gotten back under raises will not get one and may have few other unemployment options with better compensation. A round of relief checks are expected to be mailed and deposited to millions of people. These payments can be worth up to $270. The lawmakers have already announced new plans for their state, and they will provide residents an extra boost of money. So friends, more and more stimulus checks are going to be sent out. That's official. New York Governor Kathy Hochul and legislative leaders announced that a stimulus payment of about $270 will be sent to 1 million New Yorkers to combat inflation and improve the affordability. The New York Department of Finance and Taxation will soon begin directing financial assistance to New Yorkers. They who received the Empire State Child Credit or the Earned Income Credit on their tax returns. New Yorkers can expect to receive the checks by the end of October. The Hochul said, with this relief package, we're making good on our commitment to helping hardworking people in New York through the nationwide affordability crisis. The program will put money back into the pockets of nearly 2 million New York families to make ends meet and face the crisis, inflation, and other rising costs. Hochul and members of his state approved the additional New York State Child and Earned Income Tax payment. The program provided an average payment of $270 a month. Eligible New Yorkers do not need to take any action to receive the checks. Checks will be mailed automatically. Early this year, Hochul accelerated the distribution of $2 billion in tax relief to more than 2 million New Yorkers through the new homeowner tax rebate credit. Hochul also announced a statewide gas and diesel tax holiday to provide New Yorkers relief at the pump as fuel prices have hit record high. According to state officials, New Yorkers who have recently moved should update their address with the Department of Taxation and Finance. To prevent delays in receiving your additional state checks, your additional state child and earned income tax payment check. Colorado is also mailing and doing their work with 700
likely to continue for quite a while. But as usual, it doesn't seem to concern Democrats one bit. The president was asked Tuesday if he was concerned about August's even worse than expected inflation report. His answer? No, I'm not. It was just one more tone-deaf moment for the president and the Democrats. On Tuesday, the president and Democrats gathered at the White House to congratulate themselves for having passed their so-called Inflation Reduction Act, a bill that will do nothing to reduce inflation. And that's not just my opinion, Madam President. That was the conclusion of the nonpartisan Penn-Wharton budget model, and of the Democrat chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, who referred to the bill as the so-called Inflation Reduction Act on the Senate floor, while admitting it would do nothing to solve our nation's inflation crisis. But that didn't stop the Democrats from celebrating yesterday. For most of us, of course, it's difficult to understand what there was to celebrate. Leaving aside the issue of the 40-year high inflation, we already know that the bill will also fall short in another respect, on deficit reduction. Democrats' claims that the bill would provide meaningful deficit reduction were always somewhat dubious, but even granting Democrats' rosiest assumptions, President Biden wiped out any deficit reduction when he announced his massive student loan giveaway 8 days after the Inflation Reduction Act was signed into law. So no inflation reduction.
Able to move forward to end starvation wages in this country and raise the income of 32 million struggling Americans. But Lindsey Graham had a different take. He said this decision actually reinforces reconciliation cannot be used as a vehicle to pass major legislation change by either party on a simple.
They'll instead receive a $200 tax credit by filing a 2020 tax return. And also, about 300,000 low-income essential workers will receive $500 checks from the Baker administration. Payments will be mailed to eligible Massachusetts residents beginning on Monday as part of the Crisis Essential Employee Premium Pay program. The House Speaker said on Twitter the legislature was proud to establish this program through our American Rescue Plan Act, and the essential workers who work to keep the Commonwealth during the height of the crisis deserve nothing less. People must have earned at least $13,000 with a total income below 300% of the federal poverty level. The maximum income for a single filer must be no more than $38,000. A lot of money's coming your way, so get ready. Let's get ready for President Biden to send out more stimulus checks. I'm definitely ready for this, everybody. The new deposit date has been confirmed. The next batch of checks will be deposited this week. Yes, this week. Many Americans can expect to receive a one-time inflation payment. Some governors have also agreed to use unused funds of crisis relief checks for bonus checks for the residents. So states are continuing to send out target relief checks to the residents just to help people offset the impact of rising gas and inflation. These states are sending out the relief money in one form or another. Rhode Island is the latest state to join the growing list and will be sending rebate checks and relief money in the form of a child tax credit. Stimulus checks from Rhode Island will be a one-time payment and expected this fall. Governor David McKee announced that eligible taxpayers will get a one-time check from Rhode Island this fall. Eligible residents will get a rebate of $250 per child for a maximum of up to 3 children per household. A lot of money, everybody, is coming to people's way. In a press release, Governor McKee said, "Supporting parents and their children with Rhode Island new child tax credit is a sensible and critical way to keep our economy growing, but the threshold for filing jointly is $200,000 or less, and Governor McKee's office estimates that about 115,000 households could qualify for the child tax credit. The state will begin sending the money in October." State officials said this week, "We're happy to help the governor provide financial aid to Rhode Island families at this critical time for the state's economy. The Division of Taxation is working now on building the process for getting this money to taxpayers as quickly as possible." And also,